reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
She was an amazing sculptor. Some of her works depicted fallen foes, others were past lovers. I bet some of them were one and the same.
I'm in love. I thought it wouldn't happen, but there it is.
Do you even have the energy for that?
Sure, juggling a couple of mails is easy.
Happiness mode engaged.
Hello.
Welcome.
Ready for action.
Happy to meet you, hero.
Glad to have you with us.
You'll find everything you need here.
Hail, traveler.
Wake up, you motherless Ettins. It's time to go.
I'd offer the traditional pirate's greeting, but your spleen is better unperforated.
You're listening to Guild Wars Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMOReporter, and by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon at doghousesystems.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of Guild Wars Reporter. This is episode 159. As always, I'm joined by the aetherized Allona.
Hello, captivating Celeste.
My goodness, you have a list, don't you?
That's what I was getting ready. It's like, wait, I have to pull up a website that Key sent me a link to. That adjectives starting with C to describe a person. That is the actual title of the page.
I am amazed.
That this adjectives starting with A through Z.
I like it.
Captivating.
So
this one actually includes unpleasant ones as well.
Oh, lovely.
Challenging, childish, choleric. I didn't go with Maybe if you're in a bad mood, I'll do that one.
Oh. Allona, what did you do in game this week?
And I say we because you're partly included in this, Fungeons and Fractals, or rather, you were there for part of it. But this week we did Fractals and Fungeons, and we reversed the order, and I cannot remember why we flipped those, to be perfectly honest.
It was probably just people wanted to do Fractals first.
Maybe we had someone on who wanted to do Fractals, but they had to jet. Honestly, I can't remember. I tried a listener's build suggestion for my Guardian, and I kinda love it.
Awesome.
Yes, it works very well. I found it really easy to fall into its playstyle, and I'm going to go more into that in Ask Nazura, so I'm going to read out that build so that people, if they're interested, they could try it.
Cool.
Also, the Gallant Staff Skin, which they're out of, I think, are they still one ticket after yesterday's patch, or did they go up?
I think they're still one.
Okay. The staff skin looks really great on my Guardian, so I did end up nabbing at least one from that set. It's so funny, so oftentimes I'll, when we talk about the set when it's first introduced, and I'll be like, oh, they're okay, I'm not super crazy about them, but I can see how other people would like them, and then I usually end up getting at least one from that set. I warm up to them almost, or if I try them on a different character and they really find their home there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll get it. So the staff skin, awesome, love it. After the Fractals and Fungeons, we did 2 rounds of Silver Waste shoveling. Every day I'm shoveling. That's all I can think of when they talk about shoveling. And on Friday, we did, I've actually done it at least a couple nights this week, a couple temple runs in Ore with Hunter, And if anyone who's listening is a newer player, there are temples in the region of Ore that cycle with events and bosses. And
they just become contested and you have to clear it out.
A group has organized, or a few guilds do this, I think, to go through and do them all, and it can be really quite lucrative. So, it's a fun thing to do with a group. I had to play with my settings as I DC'd a few times. Yes, a few times during world boss fights that caused me to get 0 rewards. 0.
I had that happen a few months ago. I don't remember what I had to change, but it eventually just resolved.
I had to put my character model limit to low.
Oh, yep.
And that made all the difference. So because I got a little over ambitious, I think, with my new computer, I was like, all the high settings! And,
yeah, that'll do
and
it.
apparently during Karka Queen, that's not a good idea. So...
That's right. I was with you. We were hitting Karka Queen after one of the temple runs, and you were like, oh, I disconnected.
And I got nothing. And then that also happened during a Tequatl fight. Disconnected right at the end, and by the time I got back in, it was over, and I got nothing. But it's been good since I've made those changes. So, yay! I did guild missions with Maven. They are so stressful. Fun, funny, and stressful. I was actually just watching the video that Richie put up this past Monday, where he actually says that, I started out okay, but I've gotten increasingly more agitated about the guild rush outcome. it's like true. It's like, I turn into claw hands. And I basically don't talk the entire time I'm doing it because I'm like, focus, must not lose.
Jeez.
So, fun.
Fun.
Fun. It is actually fun. It is a good time. It's just I don't know why, but I have increasingly been getting more anxious about it. I did some zone completions on alts, and normally I get meh stuff out of them, but I mean, it's better. I get, experiences of enjoying the world, but from one of them I got a Black Lion key. So, woo. I never really mention it in this section, even though it's usually part of something I do in game every week. But I often get, whispers from people who listen to the show, and unless I'm PvPing or, fighting a world boss, I usually will, have a conversation. And it's always really fun, and I really enjoy having those conversations. So I just wanted to point that out, that that's something I do every week, and I always really like it.
Me too.
Yeah. So what did you do, Celeste?
I started streaming a little bit on Friday after the show was up, and Roma popped into the chat and let me know that, well, my build was kind of terrible. And he made a build for me, and he even sent me armor to go along with it, and jewelry and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, so much stuff. And I am seriously enjoying this new build. It's just dead simple. I'd already been playing like this was my build, apparently. But, without it...
Hey, it's in German.
Yeah, just click over to the English bit rather than the German side. It just defaults to the German language one. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. And so I wanted to say thank you, and that I am now going to whiz past enemies like crazy and conquer all the things, which is basically what's happening with my elementalist now anyways. I missed Fractals on Saturday, but ended up going to Fungeons, and we did Honor the Waves.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. And you missed Fractals because you were getting Dairy Queen.
Yes, because I was getting ice cream. And after that, we did the Silverwaste Shovel Train, which I ended up doing again on Monday, because my character was still there. So I was like, alright, Monday morning I'll do a whole bunch of Silver Wastes, and did some more zone completion on my Elementalist. And I basically, had a golden day for keys or something. Because I went and I did Lornar's.
Okay.
I might be reversing this, but I did Lornar's and I got a key. And I did Sparkfly and I got a key and a chest.
What?
Yeah. And I was just like, alright. So I opened them both up, and I don't remember how many I had to begin with. I think I had like 7. And then I got a key from Key Farming, and then somebody else sent me a key as a present just because they're very kind, and thank you. Osentar?
Oh, that's Osentar?
Osentar? Yeah, I think so.
You have many different names, Osentar. I had no idea. Yes, I also got a key, and so did Ultra. So thank you.
Yes.
It was very
It's
sweet.
super awesome.
Yes.
So I opened up all the chests, and now I have like 13 or 14 scraps.
Yay! Ready for the next thing.
Yeah, because I'm not crazy about Dream Thistle. Hunter got all like, you need to be into Dream Thistle because you have a Sylvari. And I was like, yeah, no.
I mean, 3 is better than 5, but it's still 3.
Yeah, but I don't really like the set, so it's kind of like, eh.
I do like them, but I don't 3-like them.
I don't like them worth 3 tickets.
Well, especially when you don't know what is on the horizon that could just be 1.
That's true, yeah. But for the key farm that I did do with Kama Octothorpe, I got up to level 8. What?
I forgot that character existed.
It's my character. It's my namesave character. That's going to be my Revenant.
That's awesome.
I had forgotten that you could use tomes.
Mm-hmm.
So I leveled up to level 8, and I was like, I might as well just finish the city. It's alright. Like, I forgot completely. Hunter was like, well, why haven't you finished yet? Don't you have tomes? And I was like, tomes. That's a thing.
So how many times have you key farmed since they made the change a while back?
Maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah. So not that often. It's just once in a while.
Yeah. Not often at all.
And while you were chatting here, I remembered that I also did a few runs in Dry Top.
Oh, yeah?
Hopped in, I think Hunter was there for some reason, and he said, it's at tier 4, it might get to tier 5. So I'm like, well, I'm there to do the events for the geodes. That's the word.
Ah, okay. Oh, I did Vine Wrath a few times, too. Sorry.
I haven't done that in a long time. But so there was a super organized group the one time we were in, and they got it to tier 5. And, you know, at the far end of the zone where you are fighting the script thieves or trying to steal the gears, got that achievement.
Wow.
We managed to do it. The thieves got 0. And it was the last one that Hunter needed for that zone, I think.
Wow. I don't think I have that achievement either.
It's a really hard one to get because those thieves are very thiefy and good at their illicit jobs.
They are.
So I got that achievement. I just have 1 left for Dry Top before I have that entire zone done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got my 10k chest too.
Oh, right.
I had almost forgotten.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah. I purposefully stayed at 9,999 achievement points for well over 24 hours.
Just to troll people.
Just to troll people, because somebody messaged me in game. They were like, you're so close. Why won't you do it?
I think that was actually Osentar.
It may have been another person, too. And Cullum sent me a bunch of cakes as celebration for my 10k chest, which was very sweet. Because I love cakes.
Sweet cupping cakes.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and talk about when we live stream. We live stream on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. EDT, 6:30 p.m. PDT at twitch.tv/MMO Reporter. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, or, watch us on YouTube, whichever you want to do. And you can also rate and review us so that people know that we are a real podcast for realsies. Another thing to discuss is we're coming into the very end of our Kickstarter campaign to send Chris and the team to go to PAX Prime in August. And you should check it out because we're actually pretty close to the goal. And, this way that they will be able to share all of the great content that they create while there, all the interviews, videos, all kinds of stuff that happens, and all kinds of live tweeting as well for all the news. So check it out and see if it's something that you feel like you might want to back. And, you'll get all of that great experience and some of the other Kickstarter rewards as well. There's like a giveaway sort of thing for the people that have backed it and all kinds of stuff. So check it out at tinyurl.com/MMOReporterPacks.
Tiny URL. Super tiny.
Think we're ready for another attack?
From land, air, or sea, we won't be caught off guard again.
Report from Lion's Arch.
Long live Lion's Arch.
We had a patch on Tuesday, and it was actually quite a comprehensive patch, actually. First of all, you get a note that Magister Ella McKay of the Derman Priory has been busy chronicling Scarlet's War, known outside of Tyria as Living World Season 1. She'd like to share her research with you when you're ready. Simply activate Season 1 history lesson located under Scarlet's War in your story journal to learn more. Note, you must use a level 80 character to access this recap. Are they assuming, though, that it needs to be a level 80 character that will have finished the story?
The personal story? I think that's what they mean.
That's the reasoning?
That explains the reasoning. Though, when Ella McKay is talking, she says, so-and-so with the Pact Commander. Like, you're not the Pact Commander? I mean, I know it's recap, but it's kind of like...
Yes. And Ella, I talk to you all the freaking time. We should know each other by now.
It's that sort of thing. It's kind of like, yeah, that's me. Me,
I know.
Dunarito.
I know I use makeover kits a lot and always change my clothes, but still.
I know I treat this like Fashion Wars, but come on. It's still me.
I love Fashion Wars. So there's that. They changed the color of Squad Chat to blue-green to make it more distinct from GM Whisper, and I think good quality of life change, I think. It's never really affected me, but I could totally see how that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fixed an issue in which equipping the monk's outfit caused characters' legs to disappear for some players. I actually had that happen once, in that the camera had done something and I tilted up, and it was like, my legs don't actually join my body. There was like this weird little Invisa area, so that was I was like, So I'm wondering if that'll be fixed, if that's part of it, or was it the whole legs disappeared?
I think it might be the whole legs disappeared, because that's what happened to me last night.
Awesome. Also, you had your Sylvari face on a bunch of your characters.
Yeah, it was really weird. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Fixed a bug in which achievement points and titles for Hall of Monuments were incorrectly given to some players. The points and titles have been removed. Any achievement chests that were received as a result of this bug were kept intact, but will not be given out a second time. So, yay!
Yeah, you can go to the Hall of Monuments now and unlock skins.
Yes, and I only had one. There was one that I hadn't, that, since the wardrobe came in, I hadn't nabbed. It was that prismatic focus, and that was the one I was wanting to use for something.
Oh my god.
And I couldn't. So I like how they did this. I like that there was kind of a in-game lore letter about it.
Mm-hmm.
I never got one, but I have read, or I think there were someone posted on Facebook or Twitter or something.
Yeah.
What it was, and I just nice.
Yeah, it was lore appropriate from a golem being like, hey, nope.
Yes, I thought that was a nice touch. Well, I would think that it would soften the blow a little bit.
Probably.
Fixed a bug in the story journal that activated the most recently unlocked Living World episode upon personal story completion. The system will now check for the next available episode in release order. If that episode is already unlocked but not completed, it will be activated. If it is not unlocked, the user must manually select the desired Living World episode. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have necessarily thought that was a bug, but...
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it as being a bug either. I just assumed you'd have to select the next one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then there were some bugs.
Yes. That, I think they're almost all fixed as of today.
I believe so.
The one that I still get the exclamation point over my hero panel.
Yeah, me too.
And when I click on it, it goes, oh, you're fine, and it goes away, but it just comes back again, like, randomly.
Yeah.
And...
like, hey, you've trained nothing. Wait, what?
Well, no, like, everything's there. Like, it's full. As soon as I click on it, it goes, oh, no, we're our mistake, our bad. And it goes away. I don't actually have to do anything other than go into the hero panel itself, or the training hero panel. However, I have this seething hatred of red exclamation points, which is why as soon as, like, it doesn't matter if I have 3 copper waiting for me to be picked up at the trading post, I will do whatever I can to pick that up right away. Because I hate the exclamation. So it's like a little bit of a psychological torture for me right now. It's like, red, click, go away.
Oh, God.
So it's not a huge deal, but I hope it gets fixed.
I see.
Because I'm weird that way. Further to the Living World Season 1 recap video, at this moment it only has English voiceover. The voiceover and subtitles for additional supported languages will be implemented in a future release. And so that's cool. And I actually just checked out I didn't check it out yesterday because I had heard that there were not bugs necessarily, but perhaps some glitches with it. So I waited until tonight to watch it and interact with it.
Yeah, I had done it yesterday, and the voiceover was in my headphones, and the music was on my speakers, which Guild Wars 2 is set only to use my headphones, so it was a very confusing moment.
That is some sorcery.
Yeah.
I really like the recap. I mean, I also would like it to be replayable in some format in the future, but this is a fantastic addition.
Oh, definitely. For players that don't go to the wiki, that rely purely on in-game canon,
yep,
this is a great resource.
And honestly, I played Season 1, and I was reminded of a few key points that I had entirely forgotten about. So, I think it's great. I'll probably use it I just want another reminder. And it's well done. It's a well done recap. I had heard some people say they missed a couple things or glossed over some things that might actually have been important to mention, but, I mean, it's a recap.
It's a recap, and the other part of it is that you can click on Ella McKay and you'll get even more information if you talk to her after the video for each of the characters.
That was great, actually. I really liked every single bit of exposition there. So
there was definitely some details there for each character that I was kind of like, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
It was more, actually, when I say there were things that I had forgotten about, it was more those. Like, I had completely forgotten the reason Rox didn't get into the warband. I had completely forgotten. I was like, oh yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that. So
it's because we stole the thunder.
Whoops.
Yeah.
And finally, even though we kind of talked about it already, the Dream Thistle weapons have returned to the Black Lion Weapon Specialist for 3 claim tickets per skin. And the claim tickets and claim ticket scraps can be found in Black Lion chests.
As usual.
As per usual. There were a lot more on the patch notes. There were modifications or bug fixes to every profession.
Just about.
Yeah. And some nerfs, some bug fixes, some buffs. Go check it out for the professions you're more interested about. It would take a long time to go over all of them, I think, here.
We'll leave that to y'all to figure out.
Moo.
In keeping up with trying to keep everything secure, safe, and wonderful for your accounts, they had another article by Mike O'Brien about account security. And the big incentive this time is that if you do this, you will get a mini mystical dragon.
Which is not so many.
Which is not so many and not so new. They actually had this over in the China client for quite some time. So, not completely new. But now we can get it on the North American and European servers as well. It's huge.
And awesome.
And awesome, that's true. Although a bit overused at the moment.
I actually went back to my pet rock.
Yeah.
Even though I went out of my way to unlink my account to relink it to get the mini right away.
Flying Noodle Dragon. Yes.
Yes.
As far as security, they reiterated that you need to have a unique password, of course, and to make sure that, nobody knows your password, or that you change it fairly often, you don't use it on other sites, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. They're introducing SMS verification to where you can give them your phone number, and they'll send an SMS, a text message, to verify that it's you, or they'll even call it if it's a landline. So that's pretty awesome. You can still use the regular authenticator on your smartphone or desktop. So actually, if you are using Windows, you can have a authenticator plugged in there.
Yeah, it's still it's called WinAuth or something like that. Is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's in the Windows App Store thing.
Yeah.
So sometime in the coming months, we'll add a restriction to newly created accounts, preventing golden items from being mailed off the account, thus being potentially looted off the account, until the account is first secured with either a phone number or an authenticator. We'll let you know when we're ready to start that. And again, this will apply to only new accounts created after that date.
Praise Marty.
Yeah, which really, it's the new accounts that usually get taken over so quickly, right? Mm-hmm. People that have had an account this long and have never been violated.
Violated.
They have a better chance of not being violated at this point because their account's pretty secure, obviously. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to do the SMS or the phone-based security, it's going to be a little while before it's completely implemented, but it is being rolled out.
Moving on, Points of Interest number 27 was this past Friday, and I've actually watched it a couple times to try wrap my head around the Tempest because I don't play Ellie that much.
Right.
I think this is one of those professions I need to actually get in and play, or specializations, but even still, I'm not great at regular LA, so meh. So you're probably going to have to talk more about some of this more detailed stuff, but they did mention that there's no trailer for the Tempest because people are busy.
Yeah.
Busy.
Aww.
So for me, that mostly means there's no bad Foley from Bog Otter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meh.
Wings of the Turkey.
Everyone loves Wings of the Turkey.
I love it.
Well, because it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of mentioned Ellie's sword.
Yeah.
That was not.
Yeah. They basically would just kind of say, data mine is fine, but it's not official.
Mm-hmm. And
to me, that just kind of made it seem as if Ellie's sword was going to happen. And then they decided, nah.
Except they also said that the Tempest had been in the works for a long time. Or do you mean that they started working on it with Sword, changed their mind at some point down the line, but the crumbs were still there to be data mined?
That makes sense.
Is that what you're thinking?
Probably. That's what makes sense to me.
I can't imagine that after it got data mined, they went, whoops, back to the drawing board. Throw everything out that they'd probably been working on for months and go, Warhorn!
Well, if they say, okay, we're going to go Sword, and maybe it was going to be Sword offhand, and then they just decided, no, this fits better with Warhorn or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Speculating.
Yeah. So they did mention that Tempest is close to mid-range supportive brawler, precision positioning, healing boons, and dealing damage. And I don't know if we mentioned this a little bit further down, but I thought it was interesting when Ruby was saying that it was a little bit like playing the piano.
Yeah.
I thought
it's a lot of different combinations.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So with the Tempest, you're getting attunement changes, which means in this case you can overload them, which I still haven't quite figured out what this. I've watched it many times. I'm not wrapping my head about it. So go.
Okay, for overloading an attunement, what happens is you have to be in that attunement for a certain amount of time.
All right.
And then it just changes the icon over to being the overload skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you just, you're in fire and it's been 30 seconds. Well, guess what? You can trigger your overload.
Okay.
Essentially. The Tempest Line offers protection and swiftness, and it's going to change a lot of the way that L seems extremely squishy at the moment. It's going to make it a lot more tanky.
Although I was reading on, I think it was Twitter, and where was I reading this? They were talking about how Ellie's actually are one of the more survivable classes.
Well, that's because you have a lot of heals at your disposal.
Oh, okay.
But, as far as
surviving without having to rely on healing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
They showed off all the different overloads, and for water, you ride in a bubble.
Sorry.
A bubble.
I'm laughing because what's in the show notes is not just a bubble.
Yes.
She got a little bit more colorful with her description of it because she is excited. But we are Safe for Work podcast and it doesn't get said.
It's like when you use a Quaggin tonic, you pop into the world and you have like a bubble around you and then it pop.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. But then it also reminds me of Shiro's skill in Guild Wars 1 where he's like meditating inside of a bubble because you're sitting down in the bubble.
So you're riding it like the magic carpet?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so cute.
Awesome.
When you do trigger an overload, it will take about 15 to 20 seconds for your element attunement to cool down.
Okay.
Which is basically what it was at now, except like you can trade it down lower, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And the earth overload reminds me of earthbending on like Last Airbender, because you're like riding atop a wave of rocks.
That was the one I was like, ooh.
It looks pretty amazing.
I like.
The fire one is kind of like little tornado around you and you're spinning, which is pretty cool. And the earth one is what? Like little lightning strikes, basically.
Okay.
So
pew pew.
Yeah.
So Ellies are getting the war horn. We knew this. We talked about a little bit on last week's show. Mm-hmm. Well, Ultra and I did talk about it.
I was sick in bed.
Yeah. And yet still doing work for the show. They talked a little bit about some of the skills for that. So heat sink, which is in fire, it will stack 3 stacks of might to yourself and then spread to allies, which is kind of because, fire spreads out. That's kind of neat. Mm-hmm. Warhorn is going to get new noises for Elementalist.
Yes. They wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, the wah noise is not going to be the permanent noise for Elementalist Warhorn. Because it really is just kind of like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wildfire, which is also in fire. Go figure. You put here, it reminds you of the Revenant Road, but as a fire field. And I thought that it was like, I like they describe it like a carpet. And it's like a carpet of fire.
It is. It's, it's like hot coals.
Yep. I like it.
Basically.
That one I was like, ooh, again. Ooh. Tidal Surge, which is water, heals and regenerates and pushes back enemies in front of you.
And it looks pretty cool, like a big wave crashing across the land. It looks really intimidating, I think.
Sorry. So the chat is like, I'm just going to be shouting through the war horn, I'm an Ellie, you guys!
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Mobile water field with water orb. Mobile fields is a really interesting piece of tech, kind of like the Ventari tablet sliding along the healing.
The Ventari tablet, it slides across the ground, and in that path, everybody gets healed. Well, it's the same sort of thing with this water orb. It just kind of moves across the field, like away from you, so you can, position yourself through a line of enemies or away from a line of enemies and run with the orb and blast it as you're going for extra healing. Because it's a water field, too.
That is some... I see where they're going with the precision part.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty awesome. There's the Cyclone, which is an air skill. It blasts basically a cyclone, and it pulls the enemies into a centered line. And if you have an ally that's in line with it, they'll get swiftness.
So it's a little bit like the underwater staff 5 on a Mesmer, the whirlpool sort of thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I don't play a whole lot of Mesmer underwater.
Yeah, well, I love those. Oh no, not staff or trident. It's spear.
Spear. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, see, that's kind of meh.
I'm starting...
Sometimes.
I'm using it more, actually, but also in air, there's Lightning Orb, Line Projectile. It damages, causes vulnerability, and it's good for chasing down an enemy that might be running away, i.e. me.
Because it goes off in a line, but it, has these, little tendrils coming off of it, little... projectiles that will hit things along the line. So good.
So good.
So good. There's the Sand Squall, which is an earth, and it applies protection to yourself and your allies. And it also increases the duration of all the boons on your allies.
Nice.
I think they have it set to I think he said 2 seconds, but that could have already changed since Friday.
Yes. And finally, rounding out the Warhorn skills is Dust Storm, also in Earth, and it's a pulsing blind field.
Yeah, and so you can actually kind of head out into this field while they're blinded, and melee will probably run straight towards you. Well, that's great, but they're blinded as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll come right up to you, try and hit you, and be like, ha ha,
miss.
You can't hit me.
Miss. Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can get up close, and if your dagger, do a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, main hand. Dagger main hand.
Yeah. For shouts, we have Wash the Pain Away, which radiates healing. Mm-hmm. And the closer the allies are to you physically, the more heal that they'll get. Like, if they're on the outer edge of it, they won't get as much heal.
I thought this part was hilarious. Because they're showing it off, they're really spamming it. And so it kept, you go, wash the pain away! Wash the pain away! Like, I wanted them to start adding citizens at the beginning of it. Citizens! Wash the pain away!
Wash the pain away!
And as I thought that, I made myself laugh.
It's a great tip, though. Yeah. I don't know. With all of these shouts and, like, it being a war horn and everything else, mm-hmm. I feel like I need to have a toggle to make my character talk a lot less.
I guess the theory is that you're not going to be able to spam them quite that quickly, or probably not going to be spamming them that quickly, and singularly. You're going to be mixing it up with a bunch of stuff. If you're thinking of shouts as part of a war horn, you're not really using your war horn as a war horn, you're using it as a megaphone.
This is true. Well, like, okay, the war horn skills, I didn't really hear anything said, but for the shouts, it was like every single time it was cast, there was that...
Wash the pain away!
Wash the pain away! Wash the pain away! It's kind of like, no, that's not great.
But, that was a bit of a unique situation, because they were showing it off out of context.
Yeah. And yes, artful. I think we all can agree there needs to be some kind of a toggle to turn down how often your character talks to you. I don't care if everybody in my team hears it 1 billion times. I get tired of it.
Really? I never do. Especially when I'm playing an Azura, because they're hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes if it's on an alt, that's fine. But if it's on my main and they're talking the whole time, it's kind of like,
I'm actually really good at tuning out my own character, though.
This rune has thorns! Hit it!
It's one of my favorites, actually. Because it's said so often. Aside from Wash the Pain Away, we have Feel the Burn, rapidly push out burning to enemies, and a fire shield to allies.
Yes, which looks pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like fire everywhere, essentially.
And it makes you sound like a gym instructor.
A bit, yeah. There's always an advantage for that, I guess. Shock and Aftershock, which they said is probably just going to be called Aftershock. And it's an initial burst that will cripple. Mm-hmm. And the second burst is an immobilize. And the earth aura that's granted to your allies is actually a magnetic aura. Oh. So it will block projectiles.
That's nice.
They're crippled and immobilized away, so they have to switch to range. Well, guess what? You can't hit me anyways.
That's pretty sweet. I really like that one. Eye of the Storm. It's a stun break for you and nearby allies. Grants all of them super speed. Super speed.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be pretty amazing if you're a commander and you're trying to get people to get out.
Yeah. Nope, you're right there. Probably. If I knew anything about World versus World. If we had a segment on the show that talked about it and I knew anything at all.
It's funny because it's... There's also Flash Freeze.
Yep.
Which is a delayed attack shout. There's damage, and then the second burst is a chill, mm-hmm. and that hits up to 5 enemies. And if they stay in it, your allies will also get Frost Aura.
What is Frost? It causes chill when you're hit, I presume?
No, Frost Aura is minus 10% incoming damage. But they have it so brief that I think it's not really tuned right. Because, like, Frost Aura for 5 seconds, okay, but... The other guys are damaged and chilled. Frost Aura for 5 seconds means they're barely going to get any skills off while that Frost Aura is on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't know if I feel like that's a good skill yet.
Probably need to see it in action.
Yeah. And then there is the elite shout of Rebound, which gives you a 25% cooldown recharge on your next skill.
Not just instantly start dating someone else?
Not that. Although that is totally what I thought as well. It works for all skill types, all skills. Okay? So their suggestion for this was that you would want to use Rebound and then pop an overload.
Okay.
And then that will reduce the recharge on that as well. But this 25% CDR also applies to nearby allies. So they also get a cooldown recharge reduced as well.
That's crazy.
It's pretty great elite.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, that's a lot of support right there in that one skill.
That combined with Time Warp?
That'd be pretty amazing.
That should...
Pop all the elites. All of
Elite
them.
pop party!
Basically. And they also went through all of the traits, but we're just going to go ahead and link over to the Delphi one, because if you want to see all of the traits, you can see them there easily, quickly, and without any kind of fuss.
Yep. And finally, PvP 101, Hugh was back, and it was all about keybinds.
Yes.
Woo!
This is something that I've been really eager to look into. I feel like the skill assignments that I have right now aren't really working for me, and some of the suggestions that they made, I think I'm actually considering. Because I have a mid-mouse button, I think I'm going to assign that to my heal. I am always trying to hit 5 and end up hitting 6.
Oh, that happens sometimes.
And then my heal is on cooldown, and I am frustrated because when I need it, it is on cooldown.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try that.
My center mouse button is my weapon swap. So I liked how they talked about switching up like the Q and E.
Yeah.
Because if A and D can do its job, essentially, if you're also using your mouse. I thought that was really good. Because I don't really understand Ellie or Tempest super well, I honestly found this section a lot more interesting. Because it was relevant to my interests more so. But I thought were really good tips in this.
Yes.
It was just awesome. More like that. Yay.
A lot of the tips, like, they talked about your push to talk and stuff like that, and making sure that you're able to could try shift +1 for your 6th skill, or that sort of thing. I kind of already do that. Like, my auto run is shift W.
Okay.
And then my push to talk, well, because like you hold down control and you can see all the enemies. You hold down alt and you can see all the friendlies, right? My push to talk is control and alt at the same time.
Oops.
It rarely happens that I hit them both at the same time without wanting to speak, but that's what I'm used to. And then my loot is my side mouse button next to my thumb, like the AoE loot. So I just like run over the field and hit that with my thumb.
I have a setup that works really well for me, but oftentimes, especially if I'm in Silver Waste or somewhere where you really need to look around a lot, my hand is like I'm on W and then my other fingers are clawed under to hit control and alt at the same time. All the time, so I'm like, argh.
I never really get like a claw sort of thing. I press it with my fingertip.
I do...
And it gets curled, but not that much.
Yeah, middle finger's on W and my thumb is on alt and my pinky is on control.
No, see, my thumb is always on the spacebar. And then I just double tap to dodge. I hardly ever use V.
Oh, yeah. And I have V, not double tap. I have double tap disabled.
I double tap.
Double tapper. Keybinds are, well, I don't know. I find them interesting. Maybe no one else does.
No, they are interesting in all the different ways that people do. It's kind of like, wow, that works for you? Well, okay.
Yeah.
It
is, yeah, it's so individual, but I find it interesting to hear how other people have, because sometimes you're like, oh, I'd never even thought about that. I could see how that would be really useful. You might try it, you might like it better.
So over on Hunter's Insight, Hunter decided to share how he really feels.
Yes.
ArenaNet is consistent in its inconsistency. That is to say, they repeatedly and frustratingly introduce things and then never touch them again. Never adjust them, never support them, never standardize how to acquire an item, or worst of all, only briefly make them available and they're never seen again. They set the groundwork for something, make a show of it, and then don't follow through. It's a combination of neglect and lack of foresight. This whole article, truth. Serious truth. Just putting that out there.
He says, I'm not a fan of the stat Celestial, but I'd probably experiment with it more if it didn't take a month to put all the charged quartz together. Ridiculously time-gated nonsense, and there's no reason for it. An exotic celestial set should not be time-gated, especially where later stat sets, like Sinister, aren't time-gated, because although they include charged quartz, it is a part of charged sheets of ambrite, which can simply be bought.
Yeah.
And
you don't have an actual time gate there.
Yes, that would be like an easy thing for them to change, though. Just not time gate that.
Ascended jewel crafting has reached a level of jaw-dropping disbelief with me. How could this not be introduced? The Ascended crafting materials for jewelry have been in the storage panel for literally years, left blank and empty.
Yeah, and it's interesting that that was like that, but cooking, there's no indication.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, so like, again, inconsistent with that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I just shake my head. I can't have any faith in those words, which was... Because, in my opinion, when those words have been used previously, they have just plain not been true. Oh, when it's the building groundwork for...
Laying groundwork
for something for the future. For future expansion on it or something like that.
Basically.
Here's a great example. ArenaNet talking about laying the groundwork for future guild missions about a month after the launch for guild missions. It wasn't enough to simply add some content for guilds to play and then call it done. We wanted to build the groundwork for future teams so they could extend and improve guild missions with relative ease. 2 years later, and they haven't been touched. Go ahead and call me out if there are new guild missions in the expansion. And that's not my only example. So it's a fairly long article or blog post where it just pulled out a few. It's touched a nerve with the community.
It really has. I mean... Like you were talking about on Reddit, how Hunter's been tweeting out comments.
They're awesome.
There's actually a whole thread with his article.
There's two.
And then another thread that Health Seth started saying, I was thinking about this article, and here's what it made me think of. And it's wall of text, with regards to PvP and the different changes there.
Mm-hmm. And also, even on the original post, there's actually a fair number lengthy comments there as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What I appreciated about this post was that while it was critical, it really wasn't all that negative or toxic, or at least it wasn't coming from a place like that.
Yeah.
And fairly upbeat and positive considering, like, it wasn't like, I'm raging about this. It's just like, these are things I've noticed.
Yeah.
Perhaps a little upset at times, but it's like, but yeah, I think my favorite outcome has definitely been Hunter tweeting out comments about the post from Reddit, a la movie testimonials. Which one was my favorite?
There were so many.
It was hilarious.
His tardiness doesn't like pre-purchasing. Spine where people like the author deserve to be disappointed.
Minitel Raves, literally the best article that's ever been written about Guild Wars 2. It's all empty complaints. Thanks, buddy.
There's a lot more that are a bit more colorful.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
mm-hmm.
very good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed reading some of the comments in the Reddit thread, and I formulated some thoughts
mm-hmm.
that are going to be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Do you require my assistance?
Ask an Azura.
Excelsior!
So we had 3 Ask an Azura questions. The first one was from Jonathan Andrus on Twitter, who said, "Who is your favorite Buka?"
Mm-hmm. And I said Anise, although it's probably questionable that she could be truly considered a Buka.
True. I said Kaladin Oakenshield, the hero of Shamor.
Definitely a Buka.
Yeah. And then I tried to think of an actual in-game character, and I couldn't really. And I remember. I decided I would do Ella McKay, because she's everywhere.
She is. Ultra asked, how much breeze would a breeze rider ride if a breeze rider could ride breeze? Since they are alluded to have originated in the mists, is there even a breeze in the mists?
Okay, and I was going to ask, I saw your comment there, and I had no idea where is that alluded?
Okay, there was a wizard who decided to summon something or another. They did a magic spell in the Crystal Desert, alright? Mm-hmm. That's how we got Breeze Riders, or Wind Riders, rather. Ah. That's the source of them in Guild Wars 1, which assumes, that's the ultimate source of them eventually.
And just earlier in the chat, Jawa asked, how many zones do you think Heart of Thorns will have? Mm-hmm. And I said 4. I'm keeping myself open to this.
I'm gonna say 3.
We know about 2, or we know about 1?
We know Verdant Brink. Mm-hmm. We don't know the name of the other 2.
Okay.
Or the other ones. I don't know. Yeah, 3 tiers, yes. I'm not talking about the 3 biomes. I think there's going to be 3 zones.
I don't necessarily think all the new maps will have biomes. Have they said that? That all of them will?
I'm not sure if they clarified to say that all of them will.
We know Verdant Brink does, for sure, but presumably other maps would have similar things, but maybe not exactly the same?
Possibly. 3 zones and 3 tiers is what Serene Tempest is...
Predicting.
Thank you. Words
hard. So, yeah. I don't know why, but I'm gonna say 4, but I don't have firm opinions either way.
And obviously we're not in the know.
We have no clue.
Yeah.
Except for, all the times we've been told.
Right.
I'm making troll face. No, we honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Calling back to what I mentioned in what I did this week, I'm going to give you, or read out the in-game mail I was given by listener Demetrius Targaryen, and this is their Gathering Guard, or Unstoppa Guard. The gear, trinkets, and weapons are all clerics. Healing power is the main stat with those, with power and toughness secondary. Oh, I'm just going to say really quickly, I did not necessarily follow as far as the gear and trinkets and the runes and things like that until I kind of knew that's what I like, if I liked the build.
Right.
So yeah. I think I will be trying it with this setup complete, but it's not 100% there. Mace and shield with sigils of purity and life, and also staff with sigils of purity and life. Runes are Dwayna. And then for traits, they suggest valor, honor, and virtues, which is the specializations. And within those, it's valor is mid, smiter's boon, up for stalwart defender, and up altruistic healing. Honor is up invigorated bulwark, up honorable staff, and up pure of voice. Virtues are mid retaliatory subconscious, mid absolute resolution, and down indomitable courage. And then for skills, for your healing skill, you want Signet of Resolve. Your 3 utilities are Stand Your Ground, Hold the Line, Retreat for gathering or movement speed, or Save Yourselves if you're in an event and want to do more support. And the elite is Renewed Focus. They suggest when running around, you want to spam Retreat on cooldown and stay in Staff for Staff 3, which is Symbol of Swiftness, and then cast that on every node and stand in it as you gather. They're saying they can even ignore Risen in Ore while they farm, and the only thing that they can't completely ignore is knockbacks. By doing the spamming Retreat and Symbol of Swiftness, you will stack duration of swiftness to about 1 minute 10 seconds, and then it'll cap. And I'm pretty sure I had almost a minute and a half swiftness.
That's crazy.
Just as soon as you notice it's on cooldown, use it, and it stacks right up.
Wow. So, did you like it a lot? Did you go around gathering?
I did. I actually used it. I haven't quite got the playstyle for the gathering down. Like, anytime I find a node, my Symbol of Swiftness is on cooldown. Right. So it's like, it's kind of crazy that way. But then, after I first swapped out to it, I was in Wayfarer Foothills, and I normally am pretty ranged with that event, and I was doing the Mace Shield, like, front line, and I never had to use my heal skill, and I don't think I got below 95 health.
Wow.
Granted, that is a starter zone world boss, as was pointed out to me, but I was like, woo. And then I went into Frostgorge, and there trolls or some Svanir, veteran Svanirs or something. I can't remember who I was fighting. And again, it took a while because it's not necessarily a huge damage build, but I never had to use my heal and barely lost any health the whole time.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really like it.
Cool. Do you think it's something that you said you were thinking about getting the gear. Do you think you probably will?
I had already kind of built for survivability in a way, so I might kind of leave as is.
Right.
And I'm wondering if the changes are why I had more swiftness stacked.
That's possible.
Which is fine by me. More swiftness, yay. So, yeah, I really liked it. I was kind of trying to decide about switching it up with, instead of Mace Shield, maybe trying something else, but I like Mace Shield.
I like Mace Shield a lot, too. That's what I have on my Guardian.
It was quite fun. We'll have all this in the show notes if you're at all interested in hearing more about that.
Yep.
Reading it or following it yourself.
So, now it's time for my tip of the week. And it's kind of a silly one. We have outtakes at the end of every episode, so stick around for them and you will be deliciously delighted.
Deliciously delighted?
Yes.
My tip of the week. Okay, I came across this tip by accident. And of all the people I polled, only Celeste knew about it, so I figured it was still worth including.
Okay.
You're on the character landing page, and you're on the character that you want to play. Instead of mousing over to enter game like a chump, you can just hit spacebar, and it will load you into the game.
Okay, granted I had done that by hitting enter, not space, but I thought that
enter?
was something that we had already talked about in Ask an Azura even.
I don't remember that one. But no, spacebar. And I think my hand just kind of twitched on it. Mm-hmm. So it was totally by accident. Because I'm my hand kind of spasmed or something. And I'm all of a sudden I was loading into game. I'm what happened? And so, and the reason I am unreasonably excited about this is because my graphics card has a program that does recording and all sorts of stuff. And the pop-up for that sits right on top of the lower right-hand side of the screen, over top all those buttons. And so I either have to wait for it to disappear or guess where that button actually is. I know it's actually under the L of the button on top of it. And we actually have a couple other tips. Cithra's saying you could also double-click the profile square. Good to know.
Yeah.
That is really good. And Jawa says, turn off melee attack assist for skills that hit in multiple directions. Walk into the target and more hits will connect, not just one direction. Interesting. I might have to try that.
I think I already have attack assist off.
I have no idea. I'd have to check.
Well, and you know what? I can go ahead and share a legitimate tip right now.
As opposed to one that I pitied for you?
Yeah, well, I just left it blank. I hadn't put anything there yet, and Parrot, typed in, you have outtakes. Okay, that's a tip. Fine. Legitimate tip, though. I was watching Wood and Potatoes' video about making gold, right?
Okay.
Well, okay, you go through this whole hullabaloo. Well, you can turn off the patch UI splash, the page that loads, all that kind of stuff, with your account and your password. And so it'll just you'll double click your icon on your desktop and no splash or anything else as long as it's patched. It'll come to kind of a gray screen and then it'll go straight to character select.
Is that legal though? Or is it using something wacky?
No, it's in the shortcut. Oh. You change the properties for it. So you put dash no patch UI. So it'll go straight to the thing. And you can put in an email or password as well. So, right now, after I saw the video, I was that's amazing! I'm gonna do this! So I have 2 icons for Guild Wars 2 on my desktop now. One for my North American account, and one for my European account. So it's, really awesome.
Interesting. I actually type my password in every time, so it wouldn't work for me. But...
My password's too long.
Yes, mine is also incredibly long and difficult.
Yeah, that's why I just click enter. Save that password. It's my desktop.
Yeah.
Tips! Those are the tips. So, a reminder, don't forget about our game for Surviving the Mists. You can create your own stronghold hero or heroine. Submit via any communication medium, whether it's Tumblr, Twitter, email, Facebook, or Semaphore, whichever is more comfortable for you. Oh, or YouTube. Like, if you make a video of it or something, that's fine too.
Tales of Tyria.
There is a Make Your Own Guild Wars 2 skills app type thing on from that shaman, and it was specifically originally for the Wooden Potatoes Make Skills contest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty entertaining.
So I'm making a skill right now.
Ooh.
Called fruit juice. I gotta find the right icon. I'd seen it before. Dang it, why didn't I prepare myself?
Because of fruit juice?
No.
No.
Because I was being lazy today.
Well, show notes would beg to differ. You were on top of them.
It's one that looks like a mug.
Oh.
So I had the idea, and I know this is meant for Wooden Potatoes to do that sort of stuff, but honestly, guys, if you send me some really great, like, Guild Wars Reporter phrased skills, I will be tickled pink, and I will definitely share them next episode.
You know, Snort Laugh has to be one of them.
Snort Laugh will definitely be one. Oh, that's terrible. Jawa's is Logan's Rebound. After being debuffed by Queen Jenna, hits on all single women in Shaymore Tavern for 10 stacks of charm. That's great.
Hello. Oh, hitting on the women is more Farron's modus operandi.
Well, still.
You might go in there with a stack of calendars.
That's true.
Which I still would love to have made, actually.
There's a lot of different symbols here. It's like all the darn symbols in the game. Make some cool stuff and maybe send it our way, and that will make us happy.
For no other reason than that.
Yes. Now, over on the official blog, they shared a community showcase for the creative contributions from the community. There is a really awesome cosplay with a lot of really impressive leather work.
Yes. Yeah, I love the detail, the close-up on that.
It's beautiful.
And I actually really liked the modifications to, logistically that they had to make.
Yeah.
I really like the changes. Like, I think it looks really great.
There is a Scarlet doll.
Which I want.
That Azure and Copper made, which looks pretty cool.
I want.
There's a video from Musical Necromancy, which we've shared before. This is the Crow's Nest Band, which is pretty awesome. More cosplay with the Necromancer this time. And, just some really cool, like another statue and a really nice painting of Air, which I really like.
Oh, Air.
The Mordrum Wolf and a Sylvari, which looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, and ominous.
Yes, like, just beautiful. And then this Golem, which is really cool. Just a great style.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that video yet, but it's on my list.
It's very cool, and I hope you guys go and check it out. It's pretty awesome.
We have more cosplay. And it's Sarah Kira?
I think so.
Cosplay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's Incinerator on her Facebook. She also has photos of making... The most recent one is Incinerator, but she had Sunrise.
Yes.
It would be cheaper to make Sunrise and have a physical one.
It would be cheaper. That's the sad part.
She has good cosplay.
Yes, it is all very cool. So you guys can check her out on her Facebook page as Sarah Kira Cosplay. And I don't think she's on Twitter or anything. You can find her on Facebook at least. And one more thing to talk about. Alex from, also known as RPG Shack, who's also on Guild Gab, is doing a marathon gaming session for a cancer care center, or cancer support center. And this is going to be a 24-hour stream on August 29th. So yes, it's quite a ways out, but it takes time to raise the funds. So, I mean, it's a cancer support center. Do you really need to know more? They do a lot for people.
Yep.
So, if you're feeling generous or just want to support a great cause, you should go and check it out.
I am going to donate. I have not yet, but I will.
Yeah.
But it's a ways out.
Yeah, he hasn't really been promoting it too much, but I've had it in the bottom of the show notes for a couple of months now. Just kind of tagging it along in the end, like things that are coming up.
I was actually like, oh, it's moved up into the actual thing.
Yeah, I was like, hey, it's a month out. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Thank you, chat room, for coming and doing the show with us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Allona, for being awesome and,
Here.
Thank you for downloading the show. We hope that you enjoyed it, or watching it on YouTube, whichever. And we also hope that more than anything else in the whole wide world of Tyria, that we see you in-game.
The Legion calls.
So if you have a community event that you would like for us to share, go ahead and send us an email.
Seize the moment.
And if you've got a burning question or for our Ask an Azura segment, just let us know.
I'm selling. You buying?
We have coupon codes for Doghouse Systems. Use the coupon code MMO Reporter at doghousesystems.com to get an additional 120 gigabyte Super Star Destroyer drive for free on their next build.
Nice gear!
Or a star-studded diaper.
Or a star-studded diaper.
Yep.
No free samples.
Patreon page. If you're in love with the show or the network, please consider becoming a patron on our Patreon page.
Thanks for pitching in.
In the very least, it helps us keep the metaphorical lights on. So check it out at patreon.com/MMOReporter.
That fulfills my needs. Thanks so much.
audibletrial.com/MMOReporter. Books!
Books, now with sound!
Knowledge is the greatest treasure.
If you want a free audiobook, you should go to audibletrial.com/MMOReporter.
That's valuable.
So, Allona, if people want to get in contact with us, how would they do so?
They would email us at gwreporter@MMOReporter.com. Twitter is @GWReporter. Our website is guildwarsreporter.com.
You must visit more often.
Voicemail is 616-666-6778, or use the widget on the right-hand side of the website. Our YouTube channel is MMO Reporter Network, and remember to like our videos and subscribe to the GW Reporter playlist. And if you feel like it, wander around and see what other shows are on the network that you might enjoy.
You are a welcome guest.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is GW Reporter. Tumblr is gwreporter.tumblr.com.
In a world where you can visit us on Twitter, I am Ultra at Ultratown.
Find me at Hunter's Insight.
Allona may be found at One Big Pair.
As in PEAR.
And Celeste at Selly Ookie.
CELEOOKIE.
Yeah. Or you can visit us in game.
I'm onebigpair.1249.
And Ultra is
Ultratown.5683.
And I'm Selyuki.5046.
May the spirits of the wild watch over you.
Good hunting.
Keep your blade sharp and your powder dry.
Take care of yourself.
May the Six watch over you.
Until next time.
So that people know that we are a real podcast for realsies.
I didn't know if you actually read that, so I popped that at the end to see if you actually...
I do actually read it. Thank you. I've just said for realsies.
Which is my fault, because I put that in there without Celeste knowing.
Changes the icon over to being the overload skill.
Mm-hmm.
When you do trigger an overlord, I am constantly going to be saying overlord.
Apparently overlord is common mispronunciation.
Yeah, overload.
Yeah.
Well, I play Journey in the Dark, and the character that's playing as the monsters is called the Overlord, so it's like more in my brain.
Ah.
So
Tempest equals pew pew pew. Apparently for me it does.
Ultra asked, how much breeze would a breeze rider ride if a breeze rider could ride breeze? Holy crap, first try! High five me!
Bonk. Sorry, I'm copying and pasting things. And I'm not even at my point. I'm the reason we can't have nice things. Scrolling back up. And
50 Shades of Tan. Well, that's better than 50 Shades of Burned.
That's true. That is true. Although I got a good tip on how to deal with sunburns.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. From Hashtag, who is sometimes in chat and is in the guild. And it's white vinegar. Put vinegar on it.
After it's burned?
Yeah.
Ow.
No, it doesn't hurt.
I would figure that it would burn a little bit.
Well,
I mean, it's
maybe
acidic.
If you're in the blister stage, maybe, but it didn't. And I didn't peel.
Huh. I was just too salivera.
I didn't have any, but I have a lot of vinegar. So
yeah, me too.
I like IB Storage's skill.
Ultra Shout makes all players feel guilty for not doing better. And Ultra is here to say, I'm not upset by that. So nice. There you go.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.